The question has probably arisen many times. Is the body just a collection of muscles, bones and organs, or does it serve as a mirror reflecting the inner world, the state of mind? Often physical pain is perceived as something isolated, requiring immediate treatment with medication or ignored. However, it is worth considering that the body has its own wisdom, and the pain we feel can be an important signal of our spiritual state. Body and spirit are inextricably linked. They interact like two sides of the same coin. When something is wrong deep within, whether it's internal conflict, repressed emotions, or unreleased energy, it can manifest on a physical level. It's no coincidence that in times of high stress, neck, head, or stomach pain is common. The physical body responds to what the spirit encounters, even if the person does not realize it. Think of the body as an alarm system, similar to the dashboard of a car. When an indicator light comes on, it does not mean that the system is trying to punish the driver, but merely a warning to pay attention to the problem at hand. Similarly, physical pain felt by a person is not the root cause of the ailment, but rather serves as a signal calling for introspection and awareness. It is a kind of pause, providing an opportunity to ask oneself an important question. What message is the body trying to convey? What area of life needs harmonizing or healing? This relationship between the physical and the spiritual is confirmed not only by personal experience, but also by centuries of spiritual history. Various traditions, both ancient and modern, have repeatedly emphasized the inseparability of the physical and spiritual aspects of human existence. In many cultures, the body is seen as a conduit through which health or, conversely, imbalance of the soul is manifested. Consequently, ignoring the body's signals can lead to missing the needs that the soul is experiencing and that need to be addressed. It is important to realize that these signals do not carry a punitive function, but rather a wake-up call. Painful sensations are certainly unpleasant, but they also serve as valuable lessons. Every physical ailment is a chance to stop, reflect, and perhaps adjust the trajectory of your life. In the fast pace of modern life, when we are immersed in the whirlwind of daily activities, we often lose sight of our most precious asset, our own vitality. However, our body, endowed with amazing wisdom, always finds a way to remind us of this important truth. Once we realize the inseparable connection between the physical and the spiritual, we begin to see pain in a completely different light. It is no longer an enemy or an insurmountable obstacle, but a valuable ally on the path of spiritual awakening. Of course, this is not an invitation to reject qualified medical care or to neglect physical health. Rather, it is an invitation to deeper introspection and reflection. Why is this happening to me now? What lessons is my soul trying to teach me through these experiences? Accepting this interconnectedness becomes the first step towards a more harmonious and conscious existence. When we realize that the physical and the spiritual are inextricably linked, we begin to take care of our bodies, not only through medication, but also through practices that promote soul harmony. These can be moments of solitude and silence, turning to prayer, meditative practices, or frank dialogue with ourselves. The most important lesson we can learn by listening to our body is that it never deceives. It always signals that there is an imbalance, even if we try hard to ignore these messages. Listening to your body's signals means taking care of yourself, both physically and spiritually, because body and spirit are inextricably linked and can only function fully in harmony. The head, being a kind of command center of our body, serves as the abode of thoughts, ideas, and decisions. It is not just a physical part of the body, but something more, symbolizing the unbreakable connection between consciousness and spirituality. Thus, headaches, migraines, and other unpleasant sensations in this area can indicate not only physical ailments, but also disharmony in thoughts and, importantly, in the spiritual state. Have you noticed how often periods of severe stress or emotional overstrain are accompanied by headaches? This is not a coincidence. Our mind is a powerful tool, But when it is overloaded, it begins to set off alarm bells that manifest as mental exhaustion, difficulty concentrating, and of course, physical pain. But in a spiritual sense, headaches go beyond the usual physical manifestations. Headaches can signal a disconnect between the mind and the inner self, when a person's thoughts are out of alignment with their deepest beliefs and aspirations. One of the key spiritual causes of headaches is the desire for excessive control, where an individual attempts to control every aspect of their life, from decisions to outcomes. This desire for total control distances one from trust in creation, spiritual principles, or divine providence. When a person stops relying on the natural course of events, they create internal resistance, which can manifest as tension. This tension can be felt as a heaviness in the forehead area, a squeeze in the temples, or even in the form of debilitating migraines. Another common cause is an overabundance of negative thoughts. A person's mind has the ability to shape their reality, but often people fall into the trap of self-destructive thoughts. Such thoughts can be related to fears about the future, regrets about the past, or incessant self-criticism. Such a state undermines one's ability to hear one's inner voice, intuition, and pulls one away from a higher purpose. Human thoughts are sometimes like a thick fog that obscures the horizons of spiritual perception, preventing it from unfolding fully. The head, as it is known, is inextricably connected with the upper energy centers, and especially with the crown chakra, located on the top of the head. This chakra is the conduit of our connection to the divine, to the inexhaustible source of universal energy and spiritual wisdom. When this most important center is blocked, a person feels not only physical discomfort, but also loses his spiritual support. A sense of life purpose, clarity of thought, and even deep inner peace are lost. Chronic headaches can be an alarm signal, indicating that the crown chakra needs close attention and that certain changes need to be made in one's life to promote the free flow of energy. So how do you overcome these obstacles? The first and perhaps most important step is to slow down the pace of life. Often our minds are so overloaded with the flow of thoughts that we don't give our spirits a chance to manifest. We need to intentionally create moments of silence, learning to observe our thoughts without judgment or criticism. Practices such as meditation, prayer, or simply being in a quiet place with deep breathing can help clear the mind of mental debris and open up space for spiritual connection. An equally significant aspect is to pay close attention to the content of one's thoughts. What thoughts are predominant, peaceful, or disturbing? Does one fill one's mind with ideas that promote union with one's true nature, or does one succumb to the influence of external distractions? Constant self-examination acts as a key to identifying the thought patterns that can produce spiritual pain. It is also important to recognize that spiritual suffering often signals the need to loosen control. Accepting that not everything in the world is under our control can bring a welcome release. By opening oneself to the flow of life and trusting the universe or divine providence, one allows oneself to be guided by them, thereby reducing the internal stress that one places on oneself. Of course, taking care of one's physical health also plays an important role in this process. Getting adequate sleep, drinking enough water, and limiting excessive stimuli such as gadget screens and negative news are simple but effective measures to reduce mental and spiritual tension. Harmony between mind, body, and spirit is essential to a balanced life. Ultimately, headaches serve as a reminder that our minds need both nurturing and spiritual connection. People encourage us to slow down, listen to ourselves, and create opportunities to hear our inner voice, which is often lost in the daily rush. It should be remembered that the mind is a powerful tool, but it must function in harmony with the spirit to live a fulfilling life. Then, instead of being a source of suffering, our mind will become a conduit to the peace and spiritual clarity we long for. Like the mind, which carries the burden of our thoughts, the body also reflects what we experience in our daily lives, and perhaps no part of the body expresses this as clearly as the neck and shoulders. When it comes to pain in this area, we enter a realm where the physical and spiritual are intertwined in the most intimate of ways. You've probably noticed that in moments of stress or overwhelm, you feel tension in your shoulders or stiffness in the movements of your neck. This is not just a consequence of poor posture or physical overstrain. Often such pain has a much deeper meaning. The neck and shoulders serve as a symbol of the emotional weight and responsibility we carry throughout our lives. From a spiritual perspective, the shoulders and neck represent the burdens we willingly place on ourselves, whether they be our personal challenges or externally imposed expectations. Persistent pain in these areas may signal that a person has taken on a burden beyond his strength. He may be carrying not only his own obligations, but also those of others, thus overburdening himself, often without even realizing it. In addition, this area of the body is inextricably linked to the concept of flexibility, not only physical, but also mental and emotional. The neck, in particular, symbolizes our ability to see the world around us, to analyze a situation in a broader context. Stiffness or pain in the neck can indicate spiritual stubbornness, an unwillingness to accept new perspectives, or a hindrance to our ability to perceive. It's as if the body is trying to convey the message: you're stuck on one point of view, it's time to expand your horizons. The shoulders, in turn, are the primary weight bearers of the entire body. The feeling of heaviness or tension in the shoulders is a physical reflection of the emotional and spiritual pressures one is experiencing in one's life. Often people who tend to be overly concerned about the well-being of others, or who have an inordinate number of obligations in their work, family, or personal relationships, experience painful sensations in the upper body. From a spiritual point of view, such a condition may indicate an attempt to control everything that is happening around them, with the belief that they are responsible for solving any problems. Pride and guilt play an important role in this context. Often neck and shoulder pain arises because of the unwillingness to seek support. A person is convinced that he should cope with any difficulties on his own, for fear of looking weak or incompetent in the eyes of others. However, in a spiritual sense, these pains are a kind of reminder that no one goes through life's journey alone. They call us to share the burden with others, to trust those around us, and most importantly, to trust the natural course of events. So what should we do when this kind of pain appears? As with headaches, the first step is awareness. We need to ask ourselves questions. What burden am I carrying? What does not belong to me? What obligations am I taking on that I should not? Such introspection is crucial to begin to free oneself from this burden, both on the physical and spiritual levels. An equally significant aspect is working on flexibility, as it is what allows us to adapt to the ever-changing conditions of life. If the neck symbolizes our ability to perceive new horizons and opportunities, discomfort or painful sensations in this area can be a signal that it is time to stop resisting the inevitable changes. Perhaps it's time to abandon hardened beliefs, outdated patterns of behavior, or situations that have lost their relevance. Physical stiffness is often a reflection of internal inflexibility, and by working on our minds, we gradually release tension from the body. An important step toward healing is the practice of letting go. Often sore shoulders arise from excessive attachment to things that no longer play an essential role in our lives. These can be buried resentments, oppressive feelings of guilt, or even an obsessive desire for perfection in everything. By freeing ourselves from this emotional baggage, we not only lighten the load on our body, but also promote a freer flow of spiritual energy. In this way, the neck and shoulders remind us of the importance of maintaining harmony between what we give to the world around us and what we keep for ourselves. They clearly demonstrate that in order to walk through life with ease and ease, it is necessary not to take on everything, but to carry only what is of true value to us. Spiritual development is ultimately not about accumulating goods, but about improving our ability to share them with the world. While our neck and shoulders reflect the burdens of responsibility we carry, the chest and heart area reveals the more intimate aspects of our inner world that we often tend to hide or ignore. This part of the body is inextricably linked to the deepest yet most powerful feelings: love, sadness, compassion, and resentment. When there is pain or discomfort in the chest, from a spiritual perspective, it often indicates repressed emotions or an inability to live them out. The heart, being the energy center represented by the heart chakra, is responsible for our ability to love, forgive, and make sincere connections. If this center is blocked due to past hurts, guilt, or lack of self-acceptance, the body begins to react. Feelings such as heaviness in the chest, difficulty breathing, or even a rapid heartbeat can be clear signals that some emotional problem needs immediate attention. Suppressing emotions, especially painful ones, may seem like temporary relief, but it creates an invisible burden that we have to carry. Trying to hide inner problems is like hiding chaos in a closet. Sooner or later, its doors will open, revealing the true state of affairs. A similar situation is with our chest. Holding grudges, suppressing anger, or avoiding honest work with our emotions distances us from our heart energy, triggering physical pain as the body's signal to turn to the inner world. Moreover, in the chest area, we tend to store unexpressed losses and traumas that have not yet had the strength to heal. A spiritual interpretation of pain in the heart may be the non-acceptance of any loss or inability to return love to another person or to oneself. If discomfort in this area occurs on a regular basis, it is worth asking the question, what has not yet been released? Perhaps there is something that needs to be forgiven, towards yourself or others. The path to resolution begins with acceptance. Acknowledging repressed emotions is the first step towards releasing them. Various practices, such as heart meditation, during which light is visualized penetrating the problem area, can help remove emotional blocks. Prayer is also a powerful tool for seeking the help and support needed to open the heart and heal unhealed wounds. Forgiveness, it's worth noting, is not synonymous with forgetting. Rather, it is the act of releasing the burden that resentment carries. By taking care of one's inner state, not only on a physical level, but also on a spiritual level, one begins to experience genuine relief. The feeling of heaviness in the chest recedes, and the heart becomes more receptive to love, both the love he gives and the love he receives in return. Ultimately, it is love that is the primary healer of the heart, especially the love that one consciously chooses to give to oneself. While the chest tends to accumulate repressed emotions, the legs and feet narrate our movement, both in a physical and spiritual sense. They serve as supports, allowing us to move forward on life's path. The occurrence of pain or discomfort in these parts of the body often indicates the presence of spiritual obstacles preventing us from moving forward. From a spiritual perspective, the feet symbolize strength and the ability to keep going. They are the embodiment of courage, action, and resilience. If a person is experiencing pain in the feet, it may be related to feelings of insecurity or fears that are preventing them from moving forward in life. The person is likely experiencing apprehension of the unknown, fear of making a mistake, or even feeling their own unpreparedness to move forward. Such inner torment is often a manifestation of deep-seated doubts. Am I on the right path? Will I be able to cope with the challenges ahead? The feet, our direct connection to the earth, symbolize our rootedness in the world. The discomfort that arises in the foot area can signal a sense of detachment or uncertainty about our own position. It can be likened to the voice of the soul, warning us against losing our balance or moving in a direction outside of our comfort zone. Fear of stepping forward is quite natural. However, from a spiritual perspective, such painful sensations are a reminder that life is a continuous movement. Staying still, succumbing to the fear of making a mistake or failing, is often more detrimental than taking a step and learning from the experience. In a spiritual context, foot and leg pain can be seen as a call to trust the process of the journey rather than seeking instant answers before moving. In order to alleviate the discomfort in question, it is crucial to focus on strengthening one's personal sense of security. Various practices can aid in this process, such as walking barefoot in a natural environment, meditative exercises that include visualizing roots sprouting from your feet and going into the ground, or even asking a higher power for clarity and courage. These actions help restore inner harmony and a sense of self-confidence. It is also important to pay close attention to fears that may be holding back development. It is useful to ask oneself, what exactly is the person avoiding? Is there a certain situation or problem that needs to be faced, but the fear is present? The feet and legs also symbolize the importance of physical activity as a way to release blocked energy. Dance moves, walking outdoors, or even simple stretching exercises are effective ways to show your body and mind your willingness to move forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Ultimately, these painful experiences teach that the path of development always lies ahead. However, it is the individual who decides whether or not to take that path. The journey does not require flawless steps, it requires sincere effort. One must trust that every movement, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a step towards the goal. Of course, the legs and feet serve not only as support, but also as a constant reminder that each of our next steps brings us closer to our goal. The human body is not just a biological construct of bones, muscles, and internal organs, but a living reflection of our spiritual, emotional, and energetic state. Any pain or discomfort that we can't get rid of is a kind of message that our spiritual self is trying to convey to us. It can be a gentle reminder or an insistent call to pay attention to inner issues that need healing or transformation. This topic analyzed how different parts of the body, such as the head, neck, shoulders, chest, legs, and feet, can carry deep spiritual meaning. It was found that physical ailments often arise not only from physiological causes, but can also be related to repressed emotions, an excessive sense of responsibility, fears, and a loss of connection to true purpose. This encourages us to look within ourselves and bring our physical condition into harmony with our spiritual nature. The basic idea is that body and spirit are constantly interacting in a continuous dialogue. Listening carefully to the signals of pain opens the way to recovery, because we should not forget about our soul. It is the ability to take the time to quiet the restless mind, release the feelings lodged deep in our hearts, share the burdens of responsibility that weigh on our shoulders, overcome the fears that constrain our movements, and trust our path in life. Spiritual development is about living in harmony with all facets of our being, allowing each aspect to work together for our prosperity and development. So the next time you feel pain, ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me? What area of my life needs my undivided attention? The very process of asking these questions is a significant step toward healing. And above all, we need to remember that no one is alone in this process. Spirituality teaches us that there is some higher power, be it God, the universe, or divine providence, that guides and supports us even in moments of deepest pain and doubt. To listen to one's body is to open the door to hearing the voice of the soul, and by doing so, one not only awakens awareness of the messages it is trying to convey, but also gains the ability to change one's life to reflect the peace, love, and harmony one seeks. The human body, like an instrument, gives signals, while the spirit gives direction, pointing the way. In this complex interplay, each person is called to walk a unique journey of self-discovery, discovering their own depths and unlocking their inner potential. This journey of discovery and challenge leads to understanding the true nature of oneself and finding harmony between the physical and the spiritual.